There is something wrong with people. Um, a lot of it has to do with the way they act. It's why I said in the rotten society that there's just something inside of them that is rotten, that is problematic. And one of their issues is their lack of empathy for their fellow human being. Now, I made a video a few days ago about how Los Angeles County was going to start charging almost $300, like $293, for people parking in certain bus lanes. So they had on the article, where this was located, and that if you parked over there, they had about 50 cameras they would use to determine if they had a clear visual of your license plate, and then they would issue the ticket to you, probably by mailing it to whatever address your car is host to that. And I don't know if these people actually watched the video, but I said very clearly that I am not against people getting punished for doing the wrong thing, right? But that my core issue, right, was that I thought the charge was ridiculous for what the supposed transgression or crime was. For example, when I had my two parking tickets last year, both of them were around $60. And I guess I learned my lesson in the general sense that I've gone out of my way to make sure I don't have the same violations again. But the gist of it is that I didn't need to be charged damn near $300 to learn that lesson. I didn't need to be fined over $250,000 for simply parking in a spot that the city didn't want me to park in. This is what this is really about, right? The fact that I just think they're charging too much for something that is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. At least for a transgression that is not up to the standard of the amount of money they would charge you for something like that. So we have two guys who came on there, and the first one wrote, "It was on your driving test. You're not supposed to park by the stop sign, fire hydrants, bike lanes, and yes, bus stops. They mark the bus stops in red lines where I live." So what he is saying is that because it was supposedly on my driving test, uh, then I guess people have no right to be upset or disturbed by getting charged this much by LA County if they happen to park in the wrong space at the wrong time or just park in that area, period. And, I like where he says they mark the bus stops in red lines where I live. Well, good for you. But a lot of times when people park somewhere, they don't have anything there to signify to them that parking here is incorrect. That was the issue I ran into when I parked by the fire hydrant, where a lot of times they'll have the sidewalk a fire hydrant is stationed at painted red so people just instinctively know not to park there. But the fact that it wasn't painted red and that I was just out of space, because I've said before, one of the biggest issues of California when it comes to vehicles is that there are some cities and areas, due to our 40 million people living here, where you will just see cars smashed up against each other, bumper for bumper, making parking very difficult. And that was the issue I ran into, besides the fact that again, they don't mark this area as a place you can't park in. So that's his comment is just ignoring the central issue here. Now the other one, Cap, says, "Here is how human nature works. With no enforcement, one parked car in the bus lane will turn to two, three, and before you know it, the entire lane will become a parking lot. People will take advantage of the situation if you don't enforce with a steep fine." So going back to what I was saying, I did a video, it's called Only in California, and it showed how we have these different places where you park, and it says no parking this time from that time. What I'm getting at is, even if people were to, as a group, park in a bus lane, which I don't, he's exaggerating, but even if they did park in the bus lane as a group, they're all going to get fined for doing that if they do it, under this new law, right? So I guess I'm a little confused. He believes that you have to give a steep fine, whatever that nebulous term means, to prevent people from not parking somewhere they're not supposed to. But what does steep even mean? I mean, for some people, the richer people, they can look at a $300 fine and go, whatever. But most of us, right, in this era, as we've talked before, most Americans live paycheck to paycheck, can't afford $1,000 emergency. These are all statistics that we've covered. So most of us, when we see a $300 fine for simply parking somewhere, we're gonna go, damn. And this is also going back to what I was talking about when I said I could be a lot more sympathetic to this law, this alteration, right, if there were situations of people taking these bus lanes and just filling them with cars. But that's not what the story was about. It was about how they're going to have 50 cameras recording at all hours. So if you park there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, not even half an hour, and there's no bus coming, no bus being stopped, no bus being prevented from getting to where it needs to go, or people being, blocked from their destination, you are still going to get fined almost $300, regardless of if you being there is actually stopping someone from reaching their destination faster. And man, when you see this, people will take advantage of the situation. They are the city of Los Angeles is taking advantage of the situation. They know a lot of us don't watch the news, or if we do watch, we don't watch local news. So what they're hoping to do is that some person who's uninformed will park there either out of convenience or necessity, in the sense that the whole, they might not be able to get a spot closer to where they're trying to go, and then they'll leave from there, and 5 business days later get some crap in the mail about we saw where you parked in this bus lane and here's your ticket and it's due in a week. Or I mean, that's exactly what the city is doing. People, they're taking advantage of the situation. They are banking on the ignorance of the people that live in their jurisdiction, who are going to be caught off guard by something like this. Now, going back to something else, just to go over this, so again, it's obvious what the city is trying to do, right? Squeeze some more money out of its people. I talked about it in my video. But what I can't understand is, what are the people who write this type of stuff trying to do? Like, the city is going to get money from taxing people, from, all these stupid fines over things that aren't that big a deal. But what does Cap and whatever this other guy's name is, what do they receive for simping for Los Angeles County? Is LA County going to send Cap and Natsume some mail going, thank you for helping us to achieve our mission to supposedly make the bus lanes cleaner by charging people some crazy amount of money that most of them probably can't even pay without going into debt further? I mean, it is so sad that regular people who are not part of LA County, as far as I can tell, they're not part of the LA County community, right? The personnel, and they will sell you down a river to justify this nonsense. It's really pathetic.